Integrating an applications with data and storage services. So the syllabus which Google has given us is enabling BigQuery and setting up permissions on the data set. We already saw a BigQuery and the data set. We are going to enable the permissions for those data set so that it can be accessed from your program. Writing an application SQL query to retrieve data from relational databases. This is very simple. You can think of whatever you are currently using it. I'm not going to give you an additional demo for this one, but we are going to interact with Cloud SQL or MySQL using the program. Analyzing the data using the BigQuery, fetching data from various data sources or databases, as an example, Cloud SQL, Bigtable, or like that. Enabling Cloud SQL and configure an instance, connecting to Cloud SQL instance. So this too is already covered, but we are going to do it programmatically, connecting to the Cloud SQL. Enabling Cloud Spanner and configuring an instance, creating an application that uses Cloud Spanner. We are going to see a sample application here, but if you look at the Cloud Spanner, it is a global database. So your applications which is spread across the globe, or you can think of deployed across multiple regions. And if they are using a database in the backend, that's where you use Cloud Spanner as a database for availability and horizontally scalable, globally available database. It is not something very new or something amazing inside it, but the twisting part here is how you can use interleaved table inside your application, and how you deploy our application in multiple region and access your Cloud Spanner database. Configuring Cloud Pub Sub, push subscription to call an endpoint, connecting to and running in Cloud SQL queries, storing and retrieving objects from cloud storage, publishing, consuming data ingestion sources, reading and updating entity in cloud data store transaction from an application. So typically, if you look at, you need to choose one programming language, because that's how you connect to a database, right? And that is the integration point. You can choose, say, a particular database system, right? A BigQuery as an example. They're asking us to set up the permission so that it can be accessed programmatically, and you can do analysis of a database using the BigQuery. Cloud Data Store, we are going to store and retrieve data. Cloud Spanner, similarly, launch and instances, connect using the clients and your program. In data store, as because it is a managed service and there is no instance as such, you are just creating the table or the kind in database language context, and you are storing the data and retrieving the data. There is no instance as such which is which you need to spin up, right? So but in case of Cloud SQL or Cloud Spanner, you need to launch an instance and then you can store the data. Cloud Pub Sub, it is a messaging framework. That's what we saw. You can publish a message and you can pull the message out of Cloud Pub Sub. You can use even Cloud Endpoint to publish a message into Cloud Pub Sub. Cloud Storage, you can store and retrieve objects in the cloud storage, and we saw the use case for the cloud storage is you are storing video or image or any other files, and you are giving permissions to others either manually or programmatically using the signed URLs. So majority of the times what we are going to do is create instance if it is required for that particular data type, write a program, insert data, or write the program to push the message onto PubSub, create a sample data, use permissions, and write a program to retrieve data or pull the published message from PubSub. Or similar goes for cloud storage, like create a signed URL for your cloud storage object. And we already saw what is signed URL, but in nutshell, signed URL is like if you want to give a temporary permission to the other users for a specific period of time, that's where you use signed URL. So as an example, if you want to give the URL to the user, like which will be valid for next 1 hour and not beyond that, then programmatically you can create a signed URL and send the link to the user, and then user can see it in the next 1 hour, and after that if he try to access it, the URL will not be valid. So the database and storage which we are going to use, it is Cloud SQL. Especially we are going to use MySQL, Cloud Data Store, Cloud Bigtable, BigQuery, cloud storage, and the programming language. You can choose one of the programming language. There is no programming language questions which will be asked to you. So you can choose a maybe standard like Node.js or Java or Python or PHP or Ruby, any of the programming language, and do a connection to all these data sources. So typically pattern, that's what I would ask you to choose it. The preference is over microservices. Use of container is preferred than VM. On VM, you can actually build a LAMP application and you can connect to a data source as well. But there are different patterns you can choose it to connect it. That's it, guys. Let's go ahead and get started with a sample Node.js application. Thank you.